Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
And of course, my first day back, technical difficulties. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel, where I can't seem to log into my Streamlabs to get my notifications. So I know Gunfox, you just dropped 3 supers, and I'm stuck. So anyway, I hope you all are having a good morning. I am rested, tanned. I'm red, actually, because I got a sunburn yesterday. And the show's back. And I kind of avoided the internet as much as I could over the last 8-9 days since I've been gone. And oh boy, I kind of wish I hadn't done it. Let me figure out what the hell's going on with Streamlabs. Okay, Dawg. Let's see if I can fix this real quick. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. We'll see. I don't even know. Damn, this is really messed up. Let's do this. This is just a pain in the ass. Anyway, there's a lot to do today, and I don't have a lot of articles open, but I do have a lot of internet stuff going on. Oh, Jesus Christ, come on. Let's just get this on. Oh, good Lord, just work. Is this it? Or do I have a different account? Hey, there it... No, that's not it. What the bloody hell? Oh, good God. Anyway, guys, hi. Let's just say good morning and get this thing on the road, because there's a lot of stuff going on today, and it's all going to be kind of, oh, good Lord. Here we go again. I'm gonna have to open this over on the other side here. Okay, let's see. Streamlabs dashboard, because I'm gonna have to do them all on the internet now, instead of within the Streamlabs app. I'll have to figure that out another time. Let's go into this channel. Good God. Because it's not cooperating with me. Okay, there we go. Continue. God, this is insane. This is insane. Anyway, let's say hi to everybody and get it going. On Rumble, first to chat is Mr. Avocados Diablo. He gets the bell. Also, good morning to our good friend JB's in the house. Good morning over on Rumble. On YouTube, first in chat is also Avocados Diablo. He gets the bell, of course. We got 2 of them for some reason. And then, good morning also, Kara Soldier. And then it was Juge Guys, JB's in the house, and Tyler F. Good morning, Gunfox61, the great administrator of the Dawg Knight Channel server. And, let's see. Am I scrolling down here? Oh my goodness, Select the Boys back!
Yeah, boy!
And Damian Gershwin, what's up? Gorilla Grip. Uh-oh, that's scary. Also, good morning to Trippy Liberty. What's up, my brother? Good morning, Nano. Amazing Disgrace in the house. And, who's that? James Colley. What's up? Woohoo! And Mr. Jess Phillips, J.H. Phillips is in the house. Hello, Jess. We're back. Nice to see you. And, okay, so that's everybody. It's going to be, I'm anticipating to being a lighter show today because, I've been gone, right? And so people are like, oh, when is he coming back? I don't know when he's coming back. Is he ever coming back? I don't know. Is he coming back? He should be coming back, but is he back yet? He's not back? What? Well, we don't know. So anyway, but I am back, and I'm back in not in a New York groove, but in a Florida. I got to tell you about this trip because it's a trip, to be honest with you. So we fly into Miami, and then we rent a car and drive down to Homestead, Florida. And our little home base is going to be Homestead, Florida, right near, kind of near the entrance of Everglades National Park, but we did an Airbnb, and it's this giant, like one of those giant campers that you have, the third wheel campers, whatever it was. We rented that, and it was cheap, and it was great. I mean, it had a big old bed in the back room, and had a living room and TV and a kitchen and all this stuff. So it was really, really nice. And I never thought of, staying in a camper. I've never thought of having one, but my gosh, you could take that on the road and really, do some damage. Anyway, good morning, Anna Lynn, by the way, and Steph Colonel, what's up? So, so we base ourselves out of Homestead, Florida, and then we drive down to the first day after we're there. We drive down to Key West because we're gonna go key hopping, right? We're gonna drive to Key West. It's about 120 miles. Not bad, but it takes a little longer because you're going through all these towns along the way because, all the keys. You're going through you're hopping islands, driving on bridges and going to island to island, island, island. And so we spent the day down in Key West. Oh my gosh, loved it. I'd love to spend just a week just in Key West sometime, but that was beautiful. And then we went to, and then we, on the way back, we made a few stops, whatever, at a couple parks. And then the next day we did all these little historic sites at Homestead, and did like this thing called the Coral Castle. That's really cool. I mean, this dude just built this thing out of coral. Like he digs up. No one knows how he really did it. But anyway, it was cool. We went to a fruit and spice park, like when they grow all these exotic, fruits and spice from around the world. Went to a really good bakery. Had the best cinnamon roll I ever had in my life. Went to Everglades. We went down to Key West, like I think 3 times. One day we spent a day on a beach on what's called Baha'i Honda Key, which is basically the whole key is a national park, or excuse me, a state park. It has this really beautiful beach that goes on, 2 sides of the one side. So the beach goes out to a point, and one side is the Gulf of Mexico, and the other side is the Atlantic Ocean. So but anyway, it was cool. It was a great trip, and we just enjoyed ourselves, and just park, Fruit and Spice Park. Did I say bar? Fruit and Spice Park. It's like 80 or 100 acres of just all these, probably even more than that, but it was just really cool. No, he didn't murder the coral. Okay, Florida basically sits on like 100 feet deep of dead coral. Okay, that's how most of the state sits on. So you dig down, and you he made these blocks of coral. It's just like, or maybe even hundreds of feet thick. So he's barely scratched the surface, but underneath the ground. And so, and he carved these like these 10-ton blocks of coral to make this building. He was building it for the love of his life, who ended up not coming over here with him to marry him. And it was just, it's just this really cool place. I don't know how to describe it. He built, like these tables, and he built a bedroom and a bathtub and all this stuff out of this coral that he took out of the ground. He did not murder the coral. The coral is already dead. No, he didn't dig up his dead girlfriend and brought the corals back to the castle. No, he didn't do that either. Oh, you all are just so funny. Where is I can't get my, let's see. Let me find it here, because I gotta get these. I know. There we are. I found a place where I can find this stuff. Thank you, by the way. Oh, Gunfox, thank you, by the way, dropping 4 Hamiltons in the tip jar. You don't know how important that is to me right now, and it's great. And I got 4 articles from Gunfox, and we'll definitely hit those today. By the way, Gunfox, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, sir. All right, let's get into the news, and then we'll. Here, let me open these so that I make sure that I. Oh God, is Skunk Fox going to try to kill me with these? I think so. Methinks that is going to be, and then eventually I'll be able to get Maybe next time I open Streamlabs, I'll be able to do this correctly. Oh, man. Let's see. And there we go. All right. I got all 4 articles open. So we'll get to Gun Fox's articles first, because that is by the way, you can hijack the show by dropping Hamilton in the tip jar and sending me the article you want me to read, which Gun Fox has done. So he's going to hijack the show. But before he hijacks the show, allow me to get in through the trending topics of the day. Great to see everybody here. Thank you for the people who are, let's see. Oh my gosh, my internet's slow today too. I probably have to restart my computer. Thanks to all the people who are sharing the show. Looks like Simon Wilkins and Somnambule Nation and Hotep Jesus. Oh my gosh, my good friend Hotep Jesus reposted the show. So I appreciate y'all for doing that. And Tyler F, of course. Thank you very much. So, all right, let's get this thing going. I'm really annoyed by the notifications not working over here, though, but we'll figure that out later. I can do it over there. So, hi. Let's get into what's going on in the world today. First things happening. It is now Eid Mubarak is trending because the holiday Eid Mubarak in the Muslim world, or Eid Mubarak, I guess, is a greeting. Eid Mubarak. So this person says, Eid Mubarak to all my brothers and sisters around the globe. Wishing everyone a wonderful and very joyous Eid. This is the day. May this day be a celebration of faith, love, and togetherness with those who mean the most to you. So people saying Eid Mubarak to everybody. That's the greeting for Eid. So there you go. Also trending, National Sibling Day. So if you have a brother or sister, make sure you reach out today and say hi if you like them. Some people don't like their siblings, so you may not want to do that. But if you like your siblings, this would be a good day to go say hi to your siblings. A lot of people posting pictures of their siblings. I'm going to scroll slowly just in case someone does one of those weird, like, well, I don't even know what that means. What is this? That's a Monty Python. Luigi and Dino have a little proposition for you. Okay, that's from the Monty Python. Anyway, it's National Sibling Day. Enough about that. I'm going to go through these quick because I want to get to the articles that Gun Fox did, and so there you go. Could they not cut the fried chicken in a crescent? Oh, speaking of chickens, what's really weird about Florida, at least the Keys in particular, and even in Homestead, you saw a lot of them. There are like roosters everywhere. Like apparently you're not allowed to kill roosters in the Keys, and so they kind of run around wild. Now generally we saw them mostly on Key West. We saw them other places. We saw them in Homestead too. But they had there's these roosters everywhere. Then there's some chickens, like you see the chickens too, and chickens walking around with chicks, because I guess you can kill the chickens, but you can't kill the roosters. And so, man, everywhere you go, there's like roosters crowing in the morning, and all that stuff. And it was just strange. Good morning, Green Badger Outdoors. So if anyone can explain why I didn't really get the reason why they don't let you kill roosters, but they're feral roosters. They're everywhere. Oh, by the way, I see someone talking about killing the coral again. No coral was killed. The coral that was already dead. Okay. But did you know though, in Florida, the 3rd largest living coral reef in the world is in the Keys? I didn't know that either. We learned about that. We learned a lot of stuff. So we did, because we did a history of Homestead Museum. The Homestead Historical Society went in that museum, learned about that. The Coral Castle, there's a lot of history there because they told us a lot about Southern Florida history. I didn't realize, by the way, did you know Key West was a city before Miami was? Because apparently Key West, we didn't own the rest of Florida. We only owned Key West. And so Key West was this thriving city. And then this dude, his name was Flagler, and he wanted to connect the Keys. He's the big railroad guy. He was this guy who was also, he got money from oil. He's with that Carnegie. Who's the oil guy? Anyway, he was a partner with him, and he had this giant railroad, and he built this railroad to get down to the Florida Keys. And he's like, well, he had this big ambition to connect all the islands with the railroad. And so he is the guy who had the idea of building these bridges between all of the keys. And one of the bridges, most famous bridge, is the 7 Mile Bridge. It's a bridge that's 7 miles long over water. And so he built this bridge. And apparently the Germans at the time had the best cement in the world. So he imported all this cement from Germany. We're talking millions of tons. It's an unbelievable feat, and apparently it was considered the 8th wonder of the world at one time. But the old bridge is still up in parts, but they don't use it. They built a new bridge, and so you drive, you can drive from basically mainland Florida all the way to Key West, and it was pretty cool. Anyway, okay, let's go back to this. You can't kill the roosters to do an anti-circumcision law. I don't know what that means. Castle operations kill quarrel with nuke. Okay, this is getting weird in the chat. Yeah, Rockefeller. That's right. He was a partner with Rockefeller, and then he was a big railroad dude too. What up, Ty Alexander? How you doing? Nice to see you. All right. Let's move on from National Siblings Day. Also, Gene Hackman is trending now. Look. Okay, wait a minute. Let me put my face back on here. So I said today I'm back and, ready to talk about all the stupid again. And I realized that I talk about a lot of stupid stuff on this show. And this is one of those ones that I'm like, what are you doing? So apparently Gene Hackman has been trending in the last couple of days because the New York Post decided to put out a little video about Gene Hackman talking about he's, looking a little scruffy and whatever, going to the store, wherever he's going. And okay, I'll show it to you. Let's just scroll. Let me find it here. So this is the New York Post. Let me just clarify something. Gene Hackman, the great actor, one of the great actors, he's 94 years old. Okay? And he's going out to get some coffee or something. And he's walking down the street and he's wearing some tracksuit and some vest or whatever, and the New York Post decides to post this video of Gene Hackman, and they say Gene Hackman, 94, spotted out wearing nearly identical outfit from weeks earlier. Well, from weeks earlier, did you ever hear of doing laundry, New York Post? Which is stupid. And then they keep going. Here, I'm not going to put the sound on this. And then, so he's walking down the street. I don't know what the point of this post was. Why are they following Gene Hackman around? The dude's 94 years old. He's just minding his own business. Just saying, hey, good to see Gene Hackman alive at 94 years old. So anyway, so this is stupid. And so people are criticizing the New York Post for doing this because it was stupid. Why? What's the point? Anyway, you know Gene Hackman. He was in Superman. He's in a lot of movies. But 94-year-old Gene Hackman tapped by the DNC for a possible presidential run. Oh, no, after walking down these stairs. That's a joke. That's funny. So anyway, but for looking scruffy, he's 94. Look, at 94 years old, you can look as scruffy as you want. And if he wants to wear the same clothes for 6 months, nobody cares. Good point, AD. So anyway, that's why he was trending. That's stupid. What else was stupid? Core CPI. That's stupid. No, this is some economic news. So again, March consumer price index inflation rate rose to 3.5% again, which is worse than expected again. Core CPI inflation was 3.8%, which was also worse than expected. Inflation is here to stay, people. People will feel it everywhere as they go, as long as Democrats are running. Well, I can't blame it solely on Democrats. I blame on everyone in Washington who thought, we should print money instead of just let people go back to their jobs. Hello, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. But anyway, apparently the Inflation Reduction Act, remember that? the Inflation Reduction Act. Remember that? Everyone knows about it. We had to pass it. And they were famously yelling at Republicans for not voting for the bill, right? Famously. And remember how everyone's saying this was passed only because of Democrats. Here's my thought on that. Yeah, so anyway, this is not good news. It's more higher than expected. The consumer price index rose from 3.5% from a year ago in March, more than expected. Remember, now it wasn't last year. Was it last year or the year before? That was the records. And then it was still at 3% last year. Now it's 3.5% this year. So prices are still going up. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Increased faster than expected pace in March, indicating that inflation is staying stubbornly higher and likely keeping the Federal Reserve on hold with interest rates. The CPI, broad measure of goods and services across the economy, rose 0.4% for the month, putting the 12-month inflation rate at 3.5%. Economists surveyed by the Dow Jones have been looking for a 0.3% gain and a 3.4% year-over-year level. So there you go. That's not good. So that has many other things trending. For example, we got consumer price index is trending. Let's see what this guy says. This is that dude from CNBC. He's usually pretty funny. He's only 17 seconds. Let's see what this is.
If you look at the non-seasonally adjusted headline CPI index, started in 1913, it's coming out today at 312.332, which is another all-time high, meaning if you go back to 1913, you won't find a higher number.
Okay, so that's not good. So anyway, there you go. Now, is this happening across the world? Probably, because when we have prices go up, so does the rest of the world. But I got to tell you, that's not a good thing. All right, real quick, I got a super here from Mr. Ty Alexander. I have to go over here to look at it because my Streamlabs was jacked. All right, thank you, Ty Alexander. Dropping a small bull in the tip jar. Oh, see, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to honor this. I'm going to put it on right after Gun Foxes. Oh, no. Oh, you know what's funny? I did have this on the list today. Thank you, Tyre. All right, let's get back into the, let's get back to where we are. So like I said, consumer price index is trending because of that. Inflation is trending because of that, because of the consumer price index. It's I'm just wondering when this Inflation Reduction Act is going to start reducing the inflation. I just don't know. Do you? Can anyone tell me when the Inflation Reduction Act is going to start working? Hello, TC. What's up? Good morning over there on YouTube. Dawg Knight, what's in the cup, Boomer? Tell me what's in the cup. What's in the cup? In the cup, it is just coffee today. Just coffee. I don't drink on the show unless it's in the evening. Okay, now let's move on here. Oh, by the way, a couple more notifications. Thank you to maybe. What the hell's going on here? How'd that happen? That shouldn't be there. Where did? Oh, I see what I did. Let's move that back there. Go back to notifications. And thank you, Diddy Tracker for Hire. That'd be Hotep Goldstein. Dropping the show links. And Issa James, which is and also Hotep Jesus. Okay, thanks you guys for retweeting the show. Let me inflation. So anyway, inflation is trending, and that's just not good. And here's this is Milton Friedman who's saying how inflation is made in Washington. This is probably a good one to break out right now because these assholes in Congress who keep passing all this spending, they need their asses kicked. Good morning, Sully 209. Let's listen to Mr. Milton Friedman.
In the modern era, the important next step is to recognize that today governments control the quantity of money, so that as a result, inflation in the United States is made in Washington and nowhere else. Of course, no government any more than any one of us likes to take responsibility for bad things. We're all of us human. If something bad happens, it wasn't our fault. And the government is the same way. So it doesn't accept responsibility for inflation. If you listen to people in Washington talk, they will tell you that inflation is produced by greedy businessmen. Or it's produced by grasping unions. or it's produced by spendthrift consumers. Or maybe it's those terrible Arab sheiks who are producing it. Now, of course, businessmen are greedy. Who of us isn't? Trade unions are grasping. Who of us isn't? And there's no doubt that the consumer is a spendthrift. At least every man knows that about his wife. But none of them produce inflation, for the very simple reason that neither the businessman, nor the trade union, nor the housewife has a printing press in their basement on which they can turn out those green pieces of paper we call money. Only Washington has that printing press, and therefore only Washington can produce inflation.
All right, so that's the great Milton Friedman, and he's spot on. Now, real quick, it says here, once again, traders sold gold following the hotter than expected March CPI, but real buyers are taking advantage of the dip. Traders still don't get it. Hotter inflation proves the Fed lost the inflation war. Inflation will keep rising, and the Fed won't raise rates to fight it. So, because it's saying, you know,
in the modern era,
you got to raise interest rates to fight inflation, and the Fed is probably afraid to do that. Now, real quick, let me go back into. Thank you, Avocados Diablo, for dropping a small bullet in the tip jar. It says the Inflation Reduction Act is working. Without it, inflation would be at 999,999%. Based on what? Because we said so, of course. Now shut up and hate rich people like we want you to. Oh, no, that is spot on. In the words of Barney the dinosaur, exactly. All right. Back to where I was. Okay, we got inflation. And transitory is trending. Now, you remember the word transitory? This is a word Janet Yellen liked to say. Inflation. Here's all the inflation deniers, and this is from RNC Research. Inflation deniers. The Biden administration spent more than a year falsely insisting inflation was transitory. It has been or above 3% for 36 straight months now. Here's the what's we call it? The compilation.
I really doubt that we're going to see an inflationary cycle.
It will have a temporary or transitory impact.
The faster than expected increase in some of those prices is actually a good sign.
The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great,
This is something that will settle down.
Transitory.
Most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary. It's highly unlikely there's going to be long-term inflation that's going to get out of hand. I don't know anybody who's worried about inflation.
Over the last couple of months, we actually saw it trended downward.
President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, enthusiastically retweeted an economist who had said in part most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, et cetera, are high-class problems.
Well, the number one thing that the president can do is help get COVID under control. That we know is the root cause of inflation.
President Biden this afternoon saying
COVID.
he thinks we're at the peak of the crisis right now, and that lower
I'm sure it's because of climate change.
The inflation has everything to do with the supply chain. Make no mistake, inflation is largely the fault of Putin.
If you want to get rid of inflation, the only way to do it is to...
Oh my God, I forgot about that one. Inflation is it's the fault of Putin. It's Putin's fault.
To undo a lot of the Trump tax cuts.
Our inflation rates are lower than other nations in the world.
The inflation we're seeing is due to the pandemic.
When inflation hit a new high last week, the administration of President Biden called the numbers out of date.
I just want to say a number. 0. Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation.
Oh, that was such a lie, too. That was a lie.
Hear people talk about inflation as I heard him there. We have to change that subject. Inflation is a global phenomenon.
Yeah, and you didn't have your martini yet, so you didn't know. Anyway, so there you go. Inflation is transitory. Let's move on to some other subjects, though, because we're going to talk about some other things that'll kill you besides inflation. Hello, Andrew Thorsten. Pooty Poots? Yes, that exactly. So other things that'll kill you. Apparently, Lunchables is trending because apparently, now have you ever eaten Lunchables? Breaking Lunchables have lead in them? Question mark. Consumer Reports found high levels of lead, cadmium, and sodium in Lunchables. Well, sodium? No shit. You're eating processed meats. Popular kid snack may pose risk to kidneys, skeletal, and respiratory health, and reported lead levels unsafe for children. Kraft says we've reduced sodium in crackers by 26%. We are proud of Lunchables and stand by the quality and integrity. The USDA is under pressure as a petition calls for removing Lunchables from the National School Lunch Program. Did you know Lunchables were part of the National School Lunch Program? I had no idea. Hello, Emmanuel Presley. And then the USD says schools balance higher sodium products with lower sodium items on other days. You know, and I'm sure the kids are always choosing the lower sodium items, so you don't have to worry about them being in the schools. So there you go. So we're all going to die from Lunchables. That's one thing. And let's see, 30 million kids in danger. Consumer Reports demands immediate Lunchables ban. Consumer Reports says urgent USDA action is needed as tests reveal Lunchables' toxic lead and sodium levels threaten the health of 30 million students in the National School Lunch Program, which in Minnesota is every kid at every school, because in Minnesota they buy lunch for every kid in Minnesota, which is stupid because even the rich districts probably don't need that. Anyway, so there you go. So if Lunchables is your favorite snack, I hope you don't have brain tumors and shit. So there you go. And speaking of things that'll kill you, well, before we do other things that'll kill you, thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. Now I have to go over here because I can't do this. Let's figure out what Jimmy Das Hotep says. Thank you for the big bullet, Jimmy Das Hotep, who says, I hate it when they compare our inflation to other countries. I don't live in those shitholes. Our inflation is caused by economically acting like them, and it's government controlled. Yes, exactly, Jimmy Das Hotep. You are spot on. And look, the reason other countries have inflation, I'm assuming, is because a lot of the economy of the world runs through the United States anyway. So you're going to expect, if we have inflation here, yes, there's going to be inflation there. I got to speed up because I got other articles to read. All right, other things trending. Speaking of things that'll kill you, like the lead in Lunchables. Also, apparently, there is apparently the Biden administration is imposing its first ever national drinking water limits on toxic PFAS. So someone here is saying, and I'll go back to Mario because he's already got the story here. Breaking toxic PF, as in Frank, S, forever chemicals found in global water supplies. 31% of the worldwide groundwater samples reportedly have harmful PFAS levels, known to cause serious health issues like liver damage and cancer. Surface water isn't spared either, with 16% exceeding safe PFAS concentrations. Exposure to PFAS is linked to cholesterol spikes, immune system harm, and increased cancer risks, according to the New York Times. Now, forever chemicals, they call them, in some kind of Hollywood sci-fi horror flick. Sure, high levels of PFAS can potentially harm health tissues, but let's not forget the context. We're talking about groundwater and surface water here, not your tap water. Which is interesting. Okay, most people probably filter their water, and also water treatment plants are supposedly taking care of that. But the Biden administration to the rescue. Biden administration, here, let me make this so you can see it. What the hell's going on here? Let's just do it this way. Biden administration sets first ever limits on so-called forever chemicals in drinking water. The Biden administration on Wednesday finalized strict limits on certain so-called forever chemicals in drinking water that require utilities to reduce them to the lowest level they can be reliably measured. Officials say this will reduce exposure for 100 million people. Wait a minute. How many people live in the U.S.? How many people live in the U.S.? If 300 and say about 350, right? We got about 350 million, right? How is it that only it'll reduce exposure for 100 million people? I'm trying to do 250 million people not drink water. Anyway, his officials say those will reduce exposure for 100 million people and prevent thousands of illnesses, including cancers. Oh, he's gonna cure cancer again. So the rule is the first national drinking water limit on toxic PFAS or perfluorocarbon. perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances. I'm just reading it as best I can, which are widespread and long-lasting in the environment. Health advocates praise the Environmental Protection Agency for not backing away from tough limits the agency proposed last year, but water utilities took issue with the rules, saying treatment systems are expensive to install and that customers will end up paying more for water. There you go. Oh, 330 million pop. I thought it was around 360 now, or 350. Anyway, 250 of them drink city water. That shit is mostly not water anyways. Oh, okay. Water providers are entering a new era with significant additional health standards that the EPA says will make tap water safer for millions of consumers, a Biden administration priority. The agency also proposed forcing utilities to remove dangerous lead pipes. Anyway, so there's going to be some government regulations that's going to cost you more money and create more inflation. I'm just saying. But at least these forever chemicals in your drinking water will be gone, which I'm just wondering how many of those exist anyway. I just read the stories, guys. So that's trending. Also trending, I'm going to get to these fast now. FISA's trending because of something. Congress gives itself a carve-out in the reauthorization of FISA 702 warrantless spying on America. The bill requires the FBI to notify and seek consent from Congress before violating the privacy of congressmen. This will persuade many members of Congress to vote yes. So this is strange. Now, former President Donald Trump, the guy with the funny hair, hello Shrapnel, by the way, the guy with the funny hair, posted on Truth Social, kill FISA. It was illegally used against me and many others. They spied on my campaign. Okay. Donald Trump, the Republican nominee for president, urged Republicans to kill FISA in a 1:43 a.m. post to his Truth Social account this morning. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, the leader of the Republican Party, just told the truth about the FISA bill that Speaker Johnson is bringing to the floor. Johnson's already fully funded the DOJ and wants a death sentence for Trump. Is he going to continue to give the deep state the tools to kill Trump? Okay, that's sometimes she gets a little out there. What's the word? Hyperbolic a little bit, but so the problem is this bill that Congress is doing, right? And apparently they're making it so that if they themselves are surveilled, they are required to give the warning. So it is requirement. The Director of Federal Bureau of Investigation shall promptly notify appropriate congressional leadership of any query conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation using a query term that is reasonably believed to be, let's see. What does it say? Be the name or personally identifying information of a member of Congress. So basically, they're getting a way to be notified if they're being investigated, but nobody else can. Does that sound right? Has anyone been following that? Anyway, you can read the trending topic. What is this one? Hello, thank you. What the hell happened there? Ah, there we go. Thank you, Avocados Diablo, putting another small bullet in the tip jar. Worried about forever chemicals in water? Let me introduce you to hydrogen dioxide. That shit never goes away. Isn't that the truth? Thank you, Avocados Diablo. Yes, we got to worry about the hydrogen dioxide that's in the water. It's just, it's a danger to us all. In fact, did you know that if you ingest too much hydrogen dioxide, it can kill you? Do you know that? You can be poisoned with too much hydrogen dioxide. So just, you gotta really pay attention to what's in your water and try not to overdo it because it will kill you. In fact, if you are fully encased in hydrogen dioxide, it's like you're drowning. It's really awful. Hello, Woo. What's up? My friend now at Studios in the house. Hello. All right, moving on. Ashley Biden's trending. Apparently, the woman who acquired Ashley Biden's diary is going to be going to jail. She's sentenced to a month in prison over the theft, quote unquote, of Ashley Biden's diary. Now, but here's something that I had to think about, and a lot of people are pointing out that if she's going to be, she's going to be in a month in prison for this diary. Apparently, the diary's real, and that should be the bigger takeaway from the fact that this woman's going to go to jail. Prosecutors accused Amy Harris of stealing the president's daughter's diary in September 2020. The diary contained highly personal entries, as well as tax records, a cell phone, and family photographs, according to the Department of Justice. So, and the Hodge twins here say it's crazy how the media talks about the lady that took Ashley Biden's diary, but doesn't bring up what she wrote about inappropriate showers with her dad, Joe Biden, and question if she was molested. Yeah, that's something you should be concerned about with those diaries. So anyway, yeah, and now this guy, there's a whole thing about this guy who was caught in a sting talking to the CIA. I'll get back to that later. But there was this FBI guy who got caught in one of these James O'Keefe type stings, but it wasn't James O'Keefe, I don't think. But he was saying how you could put anyone in jail if you want to. And this might be a case of where they're putting somebody in jail just because they want to. Because apparently this is a diary that was left behind and she didn't really steal it. I don't know how they're going to put her in jail for how many months? A month in prison. Florida woman is sentenced to a month in jail for selling Biden's daughter's diary. Amy Harris pleaded guilty to a conspiracy charge in August 2022, admitting that she received $20,000 of the $40,000 that was paid by Project Veritas for personal items belonging to the president's daughter, Ashley Biden. So, in fact, here, I'll put the Politico story out there because now you can, now you'll be able to see that. I'm not going to go through it, but because I got too many others to go through. But yeah, so sentence in Manhattan. And oh, by the way, obviously sentence in a Manhattan federal court by Judge Laura Taylor Swain, who called the Palm Beach, Florida woman's actions despicable. Harris pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges in August 2022, admitting that she received $20,000 of the $40,000 that was paid by Project Veritas for personal items belonging to the president's daughter. Project Veritas. Now, this is funny because they go into about Project Veritas on this. Project Veritas, founded in 2010, identifies itself as a news organization. Really? Politico, founded in X99 whatever. Identifies itself as a news organization. What the point? What? Anyway, it is best known for conducting hidden camera stings that have embarrassed news outlets, labor organizations, and Democratic politicians. So anyway, so if you want to read about that story, it's there. Moving on. Also trending, Alex Jones is trending because he's suing the CIA and the FBI, and that was the next part of this. So this is this guy that got caught in this sting. And this is 7 minutes long, so I'm not going to go play it, but you can, it'll be in the links today. But anyway, this former FBI agent, former CIA guy, whatever, he boasts about entrapping Americans, targeting Alex Jones and 20 undercover FBI agents working at the Capitol on January 6th, or said there were 20 undercover agents there. Now, I watched this in its entirety, and I always wonder, hello, T2, by the way, T2's I'll Be Back's in the house. I always wonder, as I read this, or saw this sting operation they did, after I listened to this guy was bragging about how, they give people a nudge to do things, and they have ways to, get people in trouble that may not necessarily, need to be in trouble. And as I'm watching this, and I thought about all these things that James O'Keefe does. And I'm just wondering, because after Alex Jones saw this, you can watch it yourself. After Alex Jones saw this, he said, okay, he's going to sue the CIA and FBI after a CIA agent admitted that the CIA targeted Alex to destroy his career. I relate to this speech by Alex Jones more and more each day. Most of America has no idea how sick these people are. It makes me wonder if this guy who they got in this trap is real or not, though. Or is he just some fabulist? Now, it's interesting because it always seems to be the guys who, how do I put this gently, are trying to get some, if you know what I mean. And they have these clandestine dates, and they get to chatting and chatting and chatting. But I wonder, after as many of these things as there are, is this guy just throwing out information to get people to talk about it? As a nudge. You know what I mean? Hello, those ain't real, dude. I just wonder if these are real this time. Because this guy is so chatty about what the FBI and what the CIA does. And he's talking about him, how they do this and do that. And, they have people out there trying to make suggestions so people will try to get people to act on certain things. And as I saw this, I scrolled through the topic, and all of the people on the right who would repost this have posted it all over the internet, all over X. And I'm thinking, at some point, they know that these little sting video operations happen. How often might they just be planting things to get people to react to it so that they all look like fools later? I just don't know. It's just wild. But yeah, this guy, now maybe I'll do a minute of this. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I got articles to get to. But so, for example, let's just go back. We'll give you this much.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do. How? You set them up. Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot? Yeah, we get really close. We call it a nudge. A nudge? A nudge. Sometimes you just gotta give them a quick little, just to see what happens. Sometimes you
so
like diffuse and just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting out a fake social media thing to like really get people mad. Alex Jones. Yeah, so we were after him. You are? We did what we wanted. Which was what? Took his money away, chopped his legs off.
So anyway, so you can watch the whole thing. It's from this, and also this outfit sound investigations. I don't know who this is. They've only been on Twitter since last year, and I know that like James O'Keefe redid his because he left Project Veritas. Now he's OMG or whatever. But he also reposted this. So I don't know. I'm just curious if this guy's for real or not. I'm getting to the point where they know that they do these sting operations. Do they just float stuff out there to get people to put out stupid stuff? All right, real quick. Let me go back to here real quick because I hate doing it this way. I wish I had my notifications where I could see them, but I don't. So here we go. Thank you, Ty Alexander. I'm dropping a small bullet in the tip jar. That is cruel and unusual for the theft of a diary. How's it a conspiracy? When you cut a man's tongue out, you don't tell people he is wrong. You tell people you are afraid of what he has to say. This has never been more relevant than this here. Fuck him. Yeah, absolutely. And also, Avocados Diabli, who says, dihydrogen monoxide. Oh, I fucked up. So I am paying the price. Oh, I see. Yeah, I saw people correcting that. Dihydrogen monoxide. You got to be careful with all the dihydrogen monoxide in your water. It's very dangerous especially if you drink, if you have too much quantity of dihydrogen monoxide. All right, let me get through the last turning topics, do a few articles, and then we got to get out of here because I need to be especially on time today. So that's why Alex Jones was trending. Also, Tucker Carlson's trending. I guess some people are mad at him now because he is what is it? He's criticizing Israel. What is he doing here? Fox gave Tucker Carlson, looks like he needed them, as well as access to decent researchers. So much of being at the top is hiring good support staff that don't make a fool out of you. Quick Google search would have told Tucker Fuentes' happy staff that Bethlehem is not, in fact, under Israeli control, and that this pastor celebrated 10-7, hire less dumb people. Yeah, all I know is he was talking about Israel, and he said something about Bethlehem being only 12% Christian now. But then people on the internet have been reminding him that Bethlehem is under the control of the Palestinian Authority, not Israel. So he screwed up on that, and I haven't paid much attention, but that's why he is trending. I'm going to go through these quickly. Dr. Anthony Fauci's trending also because apparently Rand Paul reveals a smoking gun tying Fauci to research that led to the COVID outbreak. Newly obtained documents confirm yet again Fauci lied about COVID. Fauci's National Institute of Health partnered with Wuhan to engineer a highly transmissible coronavirus in 2018. 15 government agencies knew about it and said nothing. This was revealed by a Marine whistleblower rather than any member of the government who knew. People were labeled conspiracy theorists for questioning COVID origins. NPR admits to playing politics, blotted out their journalistic abilities during the pandemic. Rand Paul says Americans deserve answers, and some people are calling for Fauci to be in prison. So the report here from Fox News is on here. Lots of people talking about that. And okay, here's the question. I got a poll question for this. Now I'm going to type it in here. Are you surprised about this Fauci news? Anyone surprised? There's the poll on YouTube. I'm not at all. I got to be honest with you. And I guess Elon Musk is under fire by some people. My pronouns are prosecute Fauci. So there you go. Shocking new documents obtained by Senator Rand Paul. The entire COVID Wuhan story is exposed. A group called Diffuse went to several government agencies to receive funding to engineer a virus in Wuhan similar to COVID. And Fauci's lab in Montana was listed as a partner. This happened in 2018 before COVID was released. 50 different federal agencies knew about this, and not a single one of them have come forward and exposed this. Senator Paul has had to fight for years to get the documents released. Why was a group working on a coronavirus in 2018? How did an almost identical virus just happen to leak from Wuhan? Why did Fauci hide this information, and why is he using government funding to pay for this? Did the U.S. government release a virus onto its citizens and globally just to win an election to gain more power? Ew, that's tough questions right there. So anyway, this guy is the new Dr. Evil or supervillain. So there you go. Moving on, also trending. Oh, well, that's not it. Okay, but okay, here's a question. Ketchup isn't available. What are you adding to this? Well, of course, hot sauce. I don't know why that's there. Here's another one. Oh, and then we're going to skip this. I don't care about Robert Kennedy. Some people are saying that there are Trump people who are propping up Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Oh, here it is. RFK aide backs Trump. Stop the Steal rally connection. A campaign aide for RFK Jr. attended the Stop the Steal rally on January 6, openly supporting Donald Trump and calling him their favorite president. This revelation has ignited speculation about the intentions of RFK's campaign, with some suggesting it may be a spoiler campaign to aid Trump, while others argue it could undermine Trump's own coalition by drawing support from his base. The situation has raised questions about the impact of RFK Jr.'s campaign on the upcoming election. Now, here's my thought on this. Is it possible that there are former Trump supporters that support RFK? Well, of course there are. You know, people are fickle. People have reasons. And they may have reasons just because the words that come out of RFK's mouth often make sense, especially on freedom of speech, especially on freedom of association, things like that, especially on government overreach. And so I'm sure there are people who were supportive of Donald Trump at one time, and it's like, hey, you know, I like this RFK guy, let's go for it. Okay. It does. So what? Remember, there were Obama supporters who supported Donald Trump. What? They didn't support Hillary Clinton. They supported Donald Trump. Oh my gosh. Who cares? People change their politics on their own, and it happens. Okay, moving on. Also trending. Oh, this is now time. Okay, it's time to get to articles. Let me get to articles because this is related to that. I'll put this over with Tyre's article. Hopefully, we get to it today. There's a new feature on X that has me finding new ways to find stories. Apparently, the Grok or whatever the AI does puts out a different trending stories in a summarized fashion. So I'll put a few of those in the links today. I'm not going to go through any of them today, but it's just so you know. And I didn't pull anything from Ace today, just because. All right, let's get into the articles that were sent to me by by you. Mostly Gunfox, but and the rest of you too. So here we go. Let's go to this one. Pennsylvania Senate bill would require law enforcement to notify federal authorities of arrests of undocumented immigrants. Oh, interesting. What's this all about? The Pennsylvania Capitol building in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Oh, that's the name of the picture. The Pennsylvania Senate is advancing a bill that, if passed by the full legislature, could result in the deportation of more immigrants who enter the country illegally. Now, this is interesting because the Texas law is being challenged in the Supreme Court or in the courts and probably will be found unconstitutional, even though you wish it could be good. The bill, SB 1127, will require the Pennsylvania district attorneys to notify U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, about any undocumented immigrants arrested in Pennsylvania. As it stands, the bill would require municipalities to notify ICE of undocumented illegal immigrants charged with summary offenses such as loitering or disorderly conduct, and those who are charged with crimes but not convicted. The bill passed the Senate Judiciary Committee on Monday on a party line vote and has received 2 votes in the full Senate. A third vote is scheduled for Wednesday. This isn't just a Pennsylvania issue, it's a nationwide issue, said the bill's co-sponsor, Senator Wayne Langerhalk, who's a Republican from Clearfield. The spokesman for the state Senate Democrats declined to comment. Oh, they don't want to comment because they don't want to be seen as not supporting the bill, even though none of them voted for it. Langerhalk, along with lead sponsor Dan Laughlin, a Republican from Erie, wrote a memo about the need for such a bill in March, citing the killing of Laken Riley, a Georgia college student whose murder became a flashpoint after her name was shouted by a Republican representative at President Joe Biden's 2024 State of the Union address. Riley's accused killer is an immigrant. Who wrote this? Who's the Pennsylvania capital? You can tell the political leanings of the paper just by how they term things. Riley's accused killer is an immigrant who entered the country illegally. Oh, they did include that part. Now, multiple studies have found undocumented immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than people born in America. No, that is okay. Now you really know the leanings of the Pennsylvania Capitol, whatever this is, because that is false. No, studies have found that immigrants in general are less likely to commit crimes, but they've never differentiated between the two. What did they cite here? Let's see what they cited here for an article for this. They cited NPR. See this? Notice how this does not say undocumented immigrants in this NPR article. It says immigrants are less likely to commit crimes. The article here says undocumented immigrants are less likely. That's such a lie. Amazing. Claim that immigration brings crime can be traced back to the first immigrants who arrived in the U.S. in the 1880s, ever since the 1980s and 90s. This false narrative saw a resurgence. Oh my gosh, that is a complete and utter lie. That's so funny. That's so funny how they did that in this article. No, undocumented immigrants are not less, well, because first of all undocumented immigrants already have one crime under their belt now, don't they? Immediately they have a crime under their belt. So, but they're talking about other crimes, which is not necessarily true because they've never done a survey on whether or not undocumented immigrants commit more crime. You know why? Because they don't know where all the undocumented immigrants are. So how would they even know? They wouldn't even know. They can't give you an accurate count of how many undocumented immigrants are around. So that's just bullshit. Yeah, what is crime these days? Good point, DC. What exactly is a crime these days? I don't know. Okay, let's see. The memo also came shortly after Lancaster City Council passed a welcoming city ordinance that was intended to ensure the city's undocumented population could interact with local police without fear of being reported to immigration enforcement officials. In response to the criticisms from Republican state senators, among others, Lancaster City Councilor Janet Diaz wrote in a March column for Lancaster Online that the ordinance reflected a commitment to protect those facing violence, sexual assault, or workplace injuries who may otherwise be afraid to involve law enforcement. Okay, so that's why they did that. Okay. Again, I'm going to just say that Texas law, which, I mean, obviously these are similar purpose laws, but I don't know. Oh, at least in this case, it says that they can refer them to ICE. Okay. So that's a little different than the Texas law, where the Texas law says they're going to arrest people for being in the country illegally or crossing the border illegally. That's the purview of the federal government. But this one, basically, this would require them to notify ICE anytime someone's arrested, because some of these people are saying, and again, interesting, this Lancaster City Council saying that if someone's has, say, a work injury and they're trying to report the company or whatever, that's not the same as committing a crime. So this would not affect someone not committing a crime, I guess. This law already exists. It used to be the norm. Yeah, it really did used to be the norm. All right. Thank you, Gunfox, for that one. I got another one from Gunfox here. Democratic Congresswoman suggests black people be exempt from paying taxes as a form of reparations. Hey, let's go. I'm fine with that. Oh, you probably get it. Anyway, a Democratic Congresswoman is calling for this is from the New York Post, calling for black Americans to be exempt from paying taxes as a form of reparations, although she admitted that the plan may not work because many poorer black people aren't really paying taxes in the first place. Oh, good Lord. Jasmine Crockett, a freshman representative from Texas, said she heard a celebrity, though she could not remember which one, proposed making black people tax exempt and thought, I don't know that that's necessarily a bad idea. She recounted in an interview with the Black Lawyer podcast last week. Yeah, the problem with that, how would that benefit people who are making too little money to pay taxes, one, and two, I don't know what two is, but, you know, it would not help. It would not help poor blacks anyway. So, and also, how do you decide who's black? Would you have to prove that you have slave ancestry? I don't know. I've never known how this is going to work. I've never been a big advocate for reparations in the first place. So, anyway, next, thank you, Gunfox. This is CNN from This Is CNN. This article. Arizona shows that punting to the states will not alleviate Trump's abortion problem. Oh, now I never did hear. I guess Trump made a statement on abortion, his position on abortion. I didn't see that, so because I was not paying attention to the news this last week. Anyway, it only took a day and a stunning court ruling reviving a Civil War era abortion ban in a vital swing state to disprove Donald Trump's claim that he had taken the issue of abortion largely out of play for the 2024 election. The Arizona Supreme Court order for the state to implement a 160-year-old law which contains a single exception to save the life of a pregnant person. Okay, wait a minute. Remember, this is CNN. The language they use in this article. The language. Listen to this again, because you probably caught it already. I'm reading this verbatim. The Arizona Supreme Court's order for the state to implement a 160-year-old law which contains a single exception to save the life of a pregnant person opened a wide lane for Democrats in a state that could decide the presidential election and the destiny of the Senate. A pregnant person. Yes, I'm sure the Civil War era law said pregnant person. Democrats see an opportunity to campaign on what's been a winning issue for them recently, reproductive rights, and to appeal especially to suburban women. The ruling was the latest in a series of hardline court decisions and moves by conservative state legislatures in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court overturning of a constitutional right. No. It's not. They're not overturning a constitutional right. Look, I'm one of these people who think abortion should be legal, but severely restricted. But the constitutional right, if you can find it in the Constitution, just let me know. I'd love to hear it. It's certainly, I don't recall this being an enumerated power or right that's written into the Constitution in any of the amendments, certainly not in the Bill of Rights and not any farther than that. But I think state legislatures should deal with it. You know what I mean? Anyway, it represents yet another significant victory for a 50-year campaign by anti-abortion activists, and it threatened to create another swath of the United States where abortion services are not available. For Trump, the timing of the ruling could not have been more glaring. On Monday, the presumptive Republican nominee had sought to neutralize the abortion issue, one of his greatest vulnerabilities, as he seeks to return to the White House. Trump's punt, which would have all abortion policy left to the states to decide, appeared designed to give the impression that he opposes a federal ban on abortion, even though he had early publicly flirted with the possibility of a ban on abortions at 15 weeks. The Biden campaign on Tuesday complained that some reporters had taken the ex-president's words at face value on Monday. Oh my goodness, what a sin! They took the former president's words at face value. That is not allowed in journalism. You need to embellish and construct new meaning out of the words that come out of his mouth, because that is your job, to make sure it works best for the current president, not the former president with the funny hair. Good God. Complained that some reporters had taken the ex-president's words at face value on Monday and pointed out he didn't specifically oppose a ban on abortion. Oh, see, you need to put the words in his mouth that I want you to have him say to make it easier for me to beat him. If what happened in Arizona is what unfolds when abortion is left to the states, Trump's damage control effort was even more fragile than it seemed on Monday. For abortion rights campaigners, the Arizona decision is symptomatic of a nationwide chaos and splinter rights caused by the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Well, you know what? That's what it should be. It should be just like all these laws in different states for all sorts of different things have different consequences and different responsibilities, and et cetera, and it's just one size fits all doesn't necessarily have to fit all. The other problem here is, as many different surveys of the most important topics in this next presidential election, we're seeing this particular one, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know which you prefer, is very low on the concerns of most Americans right now. And so this is the one thing that the Democrats think that they can then run on. But I tell you what, those inflation numbers certainly don't help. The immigration problem which is number one for most Americans, isn't helping Joe Biden, because they see how inept and actually just counterproductive everything he does is. So who knows if this would help with the suburban women that they're looking for. But it's the most interesting thing in this article that I noticed just now, they use the words Democrats pounce. Now, that's not one you hear very often. Democrats pounce on Trump's discomfort. Just how exposed Trump is could be seen in the fresh Democratic assault in the wake of the Arizona ruling. Vice President Kamala Harris, heels up, who will travel to the state Friday, used the ex-president's own words against him as the Biden campaign grabbed for the initiative in the state. The president narrowly won in 2020, but that is a toss-up at best for him this year, with voters sour on Biden's leadership of global crises, his handling of immigration, the number one thing, and high grocery bills, which are going up still, gas prices, which are going up again, and still high interest rates, which they will have to maintain because of inflation. Democrats badly needed an opening. Do you think this is enough for them? I'm going to bet not. Okay, I see the poll is done, by the way. We'll just end it there. So anyway, this is supposedly not good news for Trump in Arizona. We'll see. Next, thank you, Gun Fox, for this is the last of Gun Fox's articles. Oh my goodness. And this is out of Minneapolis too. Why Minneapolis? A think tank with ties to Trump lays out plan to deny free education to undocumented students. An influential conservative think tank has laid out a strategy to challenge the landmark Supreme Court decision that protects the right of undocumented children to attend public school. Now, why is the Heritage Foundation tied to Trump? Trump and the Heritage Foundation have at best a tangential relationship. Anyway, the Heritage Foundation, which is spending tens of millions of dollars to craft a policy playbook for the second Trump presidential term, recently released a brief calling on states to require public schools to charge unaccompanied migrant children and children with undocumented parents tuition to enroll. Interesting. Well, it depends on that school district has a residency requirement. I don't know. That's weird. Such a move would draw a lawsuit from the left, the brief states, which would likely lead the Supreme Court to reconsider its ill-considered Plyer versus Doe decision, referring to the 1982 ruling that held it was unconstitutional to deny children a public education based on their immigration status. Plyer has survived challenges for more than 40 years, but some legal experts and advocates for immigrant children, there again, immigrant children, say the newest proposal to undermine it should be taken seriously given Trump's extreme anti-immigrant rhetoric. A steady drumbeat of headlines about the migrant crisis and the conservative-led Supreme Court's recent willingness to overturn established legal precedent. I bet you that the only thing they're talking about is Roe. Yep, I just looked at the link. It says overturn Roe. The politics right now of illegal immigration and the picture that conservatives, it's only conservatives, and even some liberals have painted of stressing the resources of states and localities. You mean like Eric Adams in New York City? And the mayor of Denver have painted of stressing the resources of states and localities. I think that is a huge factor, sent Brett Geyer, a professor at Western Michigan University, who wrote a book about K-12 schools and the Supreme Court. I do think that this court has the chutzpah to say, we're going to take it on and overturn it. But others say the real intent is to rile up voters in an election year, and that Plyer versus Doe isn't truly at risk. Every time there's an election, all of a sudden immigration becomes a big problem, and we... No, it's been a problem for at least 3 years plus now. I wonder what happened 3 years ago that would have caused this to become a problem. We know. We do have to do something about these immigrants and get rid of them and not pay for their schooling, said Patricia Gandara, a research professor at UCLA's Graduate School of Education, who's written extensively about how immigration enforcement affects children's schools. That after the election year is over, it dies away. Well, no, because everyone was talking about this pretty much throughout the Biden administration because it's been a disaster. And they it's like they don't want to acknowledge that. Charging school tuition in Texas led to the Plyer ruling. A growing share of Americans and Republicans in particular say immigration policy is a top concern right now, and immigration issues are getting a lot of attention in this year's presidential race. Trump has campaigned on a series of hardline restrictive immigration policies, including the mass deportation of undocumented immigrants and the end of refugee resettlement. He's also... Okay, where's this from? Chalkbeat. I don't know what Chalkbeat is, but whenever they say he said this falsely, then he's going to, it's clearly a biased article. Falsely claimed that migrant children have displaced other kids in New York City's public schools. Oh, right. See, no, he may have said that improperly. Because it wasn't that the migrant children were displacing kids in New York City's public schools. It was just migrants in general, because they closed down a school to use a school for a shelter for the migrants, and made his kids do school from home. So that. Yeah, he got that wrong because we saw that story about a month ago. Anyway, the focus on immigration comes as the country is seeing a significant increase in migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border. The wording of this is amazing. Federal officials counted nearly 2.5 million people who reached the southern border last year. That was a 43% increase from 2 years earlier, though not all were admitted. A rising share of families are families with children. More than 3/4. Really? Because, now there's plenty of anecdotal evidence that it's mostly just military-aged men. More than 3/4 of Americans view what's happening at the border as a major problem or a crisis. A recent poll by Pew Research Center found just under a quarter of U.S. adults said they were concerned that the rise in migrants would be an economic burden on the country. Oh, no, not. We don't have to pay for all of them, do we? Oh, wait. All these cities are paying for them. The Heritage Foundation taps into those concerns with its recent brief titled The Consequences of Unchecked Illegal Immigration on America's Public Schools. In it, the organization criticizes President Biden's approach to immigration policy, saying it's led to large influxes of non-English speaking children enrolling in public schools. The document cites examples of Texas schools holding lessons in hallways and a Brooklyn high school that had students learn virtually for a day after the school housed migrant families overnight during a rainstorm. Yes, see? So there were students displaced, but it wasn't by migrant children, okay? In response, the Heritage Foundation is calling on states to prohibit schools from housing undocumented immigrants and require schools to collect student enrollment data by immigration status so that the accurate cost of analysis can be done. Well, no. We can't do that. We do not want an accurate cost analysis of this analysis. We just don't. That would be racist, okay? That's just how it works. If you do an accurate cost analysis of the cost of the illegal immigration status of an undocumented student, that would be racist because you can't do that. Right? That's how it works, right? It was this exact same practice half a century ago in the same state that's defying the federal government by handling its own immigration enforcement that led to the Plyer versus Doe ruling. Texas passed a law in 1975 saying that public schools would not receive state funding for the education of undocumented children and that districts could bar these students from attending public schools for free. 2 years later, the Tyler Independent School District started charging undocumented children $1,000 a year to attend school, a sum district officials knew would be unaffordable for the area's immigrant families who often worked in Tyler's famous rose industry, along with its meatpacking plants and farms. So, oh my gosh, this goes on and on and on. I guess I'm torn on this. because I don't want, if they're going to be here and you're not gonna deport them, it's almost like you have to make sure they can read English and speak English. I mean, there's a big catch-22 in this whole thing. Holy shit, that article's long. Who wrote it? Kaylin Belsha is a senior national education reporter based in Chicago. Okay, whatever. So for Chalkbeat. So anyway, interesting. It's a Heritage Foundation policy paper. There's already been a Supreme Court ruling on this. I don't know that they would turn it over, but it's interesting. All right, finally, last article. This is from. Wait, where's Tyre's article? That's not it. Here we go. Now, this is something that I saw in a Twitter trend too, an X trend, because this right here, someone's talking about a PhD in transgender archaeology. Okay. A recent social media discussion sparked by a PhD student in the field of transgender archaeology has ignited a debate on the validity and implications of the field. The conversation, which ranged from laughter to skepticism to concern, highlighted diverse perspectives on the study of human history. Participants questioned the field's focus on gender expression over biological sex in the study of archaeology, with some expressing humor and others raising concerns about the field's impact on archaeological research. Now, there's a whole bunch of different tweets on here about this post, but I'm going to go to the article that Tyre Alexander just happened to send me about this very subject. Transosaurus Rex Museum goes fact-free and LGBT. Okay, this is fascinating. It's not like there's anyone around who witnessed the sexual activities of the dinosaurs. So it seems a museum in the UK is taking some pretty fact-free liberties with some items in its historical exhibits. The agenda of the Hastings Museum Queer History and Trail Map is pretty evident with, quote, this is a quote, "With queerness visible in a natural world, the argument that it is somehow unnatural begins to unravel." End quote, it claims in a pamphlet. One has to unravel actual science to make some of the claims stick. But as always, it's agenda before facts for the left. So, and this is a taxidermied pheasant. Despite queer behavior in the animal kingdom being observed as far back as the 18th century, it is often ignored or hidden from the public. One example is female pheasants changing their sex when they stop laying eggs and turn their brown feathers into brightly colored feathering typical of males. Pheasants feature in some of the earliest European studies of queer behavior in animals. In 1780, naturalist John Hunter shared his observations of sex-changing pheasants in an account of the extraordinary pheasant. With queerness visible in the natural world, the argument that somehow it's unnatural begins to unravel. Okay, interesting. The UK Museum's pamphlet states, despite queer behavior being in the animal kingdom observed as far back to the 18th century, it is often ignored or hidden. Oh, it's a cover-up from the public. Adding, one example is the female. Oh, I see. That's the thing I just read. Now, the research. Oh, except there's no such thing as gender fluid pheasants. So, research cited in the guide, which is titled Queer History Trail Map, is from an 18th century ornithologist, John Hunter, who wrote an account of pheasants switching sex. However, the research has now found the feather change is due to a hormonal imbalance caused by damaged ovaries and has also been witnessed in chickens. Speaking to the Daily Telegraph, biologist and board director of the gender critical campaign group Sex Matters, Dr. Emma Hilton, said the claims about pheasants were nonsense. She said, the only vertebrates that change sex are all fish. Birds do not change sex. There you go. Hello, Unacceptable Views, by the way. And Lord Stanhope, I see you. Other than ignoring facts in modern science, the pamphlet also makes some pretty big stretches to include homosexuality. Take, for instance, a fossil of a dinosaur footprint. Quote, "We cannot comment on the sexuality of the dinosaur who made this footprint, but we do know that the 11-year-old boy who found it is now grown up, happily married to his husband Greg in a pink house in Hastings," the pamphlet said. What does that have to do with anything? Queer history takes many forms, and in this case, it makes up an important part of the fossil's provenance, it adds, because of who found it. These and other questionable, at best, queer claims can be found in the pamphlet published for the museum by the surprisingly named the They Them Studio. As to why you may never heard of this queer history before, the pamphlet answers that, as well as saying 18th century colonialism is responsible for the destruction of many ancient gender systems in countries around the world, of course blame the colonial white man for interfering with your gender fluid decisions. And that's that. So anyway, and I said it's related, that it's tangentially related to this, though, about this person who has a PhD in transgender archaeology. All right. So anyway, is this it? For those asking, what is transgender archaeology? Google it. Or are two recent research outputs of mine that cover a little of what is in the subject area. Okay, this is someone who claims to be a transgender researcher, archaeology, PhD researcher. And so many people are referring to that. All right, that's it. Gotta go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I'm back in all my glory, or lack thereof. And thanks to all the people who tweeted out the show. Oh, lots of people posted this today. That's a whole bunch of y'all. Thank you for doing that. And someone new followed me here. I don't know who that is. But so, yeah, back for vacation, somewhat rested, a little bit tan, actually a little bit red because the last day I forgot to put some sunscreen on. And so I wore a red shirt to make me even more red. I hope you all had a lovely day and have a lovely day and have a continued lovely day. And I am going to go do the stuff that I'm supposed to be doing. So I will put all links to all the stuff that we talked about today in the, in the usual spot. Let me get rid of the ones I don't need. I don't need that, and I don't need that because you didn't even go over those. And that's it. So I'll be back on my normal time around 10 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. And we'll see you tomorrow for FTG Thursday. Gotta go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.